Poor mechanic helps billionaire. Her daughter's hug changes everything. The morning sun hadn't even fully risen when Eli Turner, a 42-year-old mechanic from a small Midwestern town, rolled up the garage door of his dusty little workshop. The wind bit cold, his coffee was lukewarm, and bills were stacked higher than his courage to open them. But despite it all, Eli smiled. He always did. He believed that fixing cars wasn't just about engines. Every car's got a story, he'd say. And sometimes fixing it means fixing a little piece of someone's life, too. That morning, as Eli tightened his old blue jumpsuit and wiped grease from his hands, a sleek black Rolls-Royce purred to a stop outside his garage, a sound that didn't belong in his part of town. Out stepped a woman in a beige trench coat and heels, looking completely out of place amid oil stains and scrap metal. Her name was Charlotte Hale, a billionaire CEO whose face often graced financial magazines. But right now, she looked less like a headline and more like someone lost. "Battery's dead," she said flatly, "and my driver's gone to get help. Can you take a look?" Eli nodded, a little stunned. "Sure thing, ma'am. Won't take long." As he worked, Charlotte's phone kept buzzing. Her voice rose and fell with frustration. Business meetings, investors, deadlines. She barely looked up from her screen. Eli noticed her daughter sitting quietly in the back seat, maybe 8 years old, clutching a ragged teddy bear. She looked pale, tired. "Sad, what's your name, sweetheart?" Eli asked softly. "Lily," she whispered. Eli smiled. "That's a pretty name. You like cars?" Lily's eyes flickered with the faintest spark. "My daddy used to fix them before he went away." Charlotte froze at those words. Her eyes hardened, as if the past had just brushed her shoulder. Minutes later, Eli had the car humming again. "All done," he said cheerfully. "You're good to go." Charlotte reached into her designer purse and pulled out a gold credit card. "How much?" Eli shook his head. "No charge. Just glad to help." She frowned. "That's ridiculous. My time is worth—" "Ma'am," Eli interrupted gently, "some things ain't about worth. They're about doing right." Lily smiled for the first time that day. Then, without a word, she got out of the car, ran up to Eli and hugged him, tight. Grease-stained hands and all. Charlotte's mouth opened, but nothing came out. For a moment, time stopped. The sound of the highway faded, and all that remained was the sight of a little girl finding warmth where her world had gone cold. "Thank you," Lily whispered. "You remind me of my dad." That hug did something no investor call ever could. Charlotte's eyes welled up. She'd been so consumed by her empire, by rebuilding what life had taken, that she'd forgotten what really mattered. She looked at Eli, really looked at him this time. The worn hands, the tired eyes, the quiet dignity. "You have a daughter?" she asked. "Had," Eli said softly. "Lost her to leukemia. That's why I don't charge for small things anymore. Some debts can't be paid in money." The silence that followed carried more weight than words. A week later, Eli got a letter in the mail. Inside was a check, more zeros than he'd ever seen, and a note written in elegant handwriting. "For the man who reminded me that wealth is measured in kindness, I'm setting up a scholarship in your daughter's name, the Emma Turner Fund for Hope. Thank you for fixing more than just a car." Charlotte Hale and Lily Eli stood there in his little garage, tears blurring the ink. He looked up at the photo of his daughter pinned to the wall and whispered, "Guess we fixed another story today, kiddo." And somewhere, in that quiet workshop, filled with the hum of tools and the smell of oil, the world felt a little lighter. A month passed since the letter arrived, and life for Eli Turner had quietly transformed. The scholarship fund Charlotte Hale had created in his daughter's name began to make headlines. Reporters wanted interviews, cameras flashed, and strangers dropped by the garage, not for car repairs, but to shake his hand. But Eli didn't care about the attention. He still came in at sunrise, still brewed that same bitter coffee, still worked with his sleeves rolled up and heart wide open. The only difference was the framed letter that now hung beside his daughter's photo, both smiling down at him like a silent promise. Then one afternoon, a black SUV pulled up. The door opened and out stepped Lily, holding a small bouquet of daisies. Charlotte followed behind, this time dressed simply in jeans and a soft grey sweater. No entourage, no designer heels, no phone glued to her ear. "Mr. Turner!" Lily called, running toward him. "We came to visit." Eli's face broke into a grin. "Well, I'll be. My favorite customer's back," Lily giggled. "Mom says you can teach me how to fix cars. Can you?" He laughed, kneeling beside her. "Only if you're ready to get your hands dirty." Charlotte smiled softly, her eyes warmer than he remembered. "I wanted to thank you in person," she said. "That day, I thought I was helping you by sending that money. But the truth is, you helped me." Eli nodded humbly. "Sometimes it just takes a moment to remember what really matters." Charlotte hesitated, then added, "I didn't tell you this before, but my husband, Lily's dad, was a mechanic too. He passed away when she was 5. I think that's why she hugged you that day. You reminded her of him?" Eli looked at Lily, now sitting cross-legged on the garage floor, pretending to tighten bolts on a rusted engine block, and his throat tightened. "Sounds like your husband was a good man," Charlotte nodded. "He was. But after he died, I buried myself in work, thinking money could fill the space he left behind. I forgot how to live." She took a deep breath. "You changed that. Both of you did." They talked for hours that day, about life, about loss, about hope. Before they left, Charlotte handed Eli a small envelope. Inside was a single-page document. The Turner Hale Workshop for Young Dreamers, a community program to teach underprivileged kids automotive skills and life lessons. Charlotte smiled. "I want to do this together, Eli. You teach. I'll fund it. Let's give kids a place to learn, to build, to believe again." Eli looked at her, stunned. "You serious?" "As serious as a dead battery," she said, grinning. He laughed, a sound that filled the whole room. "Then let's make it happen." 6 months later, the old garage had transformed into a lively workshop filled with laughter, clanking tools, and the scent of fresh paint. The walls were bright, the floor spotless, and a big sign hung over the entrance. "The Turner Hale Hope Garage, where every fix starts with heart." Kids from every corner of town came to learn. Eli taught them everything from changing tires to rebuilding engines. But more importantly, he taught them patience, pride, and